Hello, loves. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a slightly confusing but very powerful concept of holding trust and expectation, especially when we are building income in a business. I'm going to be sharing with you some behind the scenes peeks of what I've been learning through myself. So let's get right into the episode. Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast, where we talk about manifestation, money, and practical guidance to creating your dream reality. My name is Amy Van Meel, and I am an experienced coach and transformation guide, obsessed with helping you get out of your own way and create a life that blows your mind each day you wake up. My goal in this podcast is to share practical manifestation, self-awareness, and growth techniques in real talk conversations. So if you're ready to massively transform your reality, your finances, your relationships, and your overall enjoyment of life, you are in the right place. I am absolutely delighted that you're here with me today, babe. Let's get into it. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Manifesting Millions podcast. And for those of you on the YouTubes, hello and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel for the first time. Today is a very different episode in both formats because typically I have a different podcast episode and a different YouTube video. However, what I'm going to be sharing with you today was so important that I wanted to record this simultaneously so that no matter where you are tuning in, you are catching the juice because it's going to be super good today. Now, it may sound a little echoey depending on which platform you're on, only because today I'm sitting in the kitchen. It is so pretty outside. So it's now it's bright enough that I actually need some sunglasses almost. But it's been snowing all morning here in Calgary, and it just looks amazing. It's still kind of snowing, but it's not the magical big fat flakes that were falling before. But we got 4 inches of snow. It's crazy. It's the end of March, and I'm hoping that some of it fell on the ski hills because I'm thinking that I might play hooky and go skiing on Friday. So, what I want to share, how do I want to say this? I want to share a really interesting concept, an idea, a awareness that came through to me this morning, and also pair that with an offering that I am testing out and trying out, and I'll be inviting you into if it feels good for you. Well, I'll be inviting you into it anyway, and then you can say yes if it feels good to you. So, I want to start with the offer only because it frames up what was flowing through this morning. So it's probably been about a week and a half, 10 days or so ago, I think. I had this idea come in that I should do a 30 days to $8,000 a training. I still don't know exactly what to call it because I'm not technically trained. It's not experience where you get guided lessons, and I'm not teaching necessarily anything in there. Literally what I'm doing, and this was the idea that came through. So I've been practicing and playing with a different way of how to align my energy and align my vibe, right? So many teachers tell us that we need to be doing into $8,000 of income, and making that my consistent income, making that for that to become the experience that is flowing through my business and into my life. So I've been testing this different approach to doing it on my own for probably about a month now. And after a few weeks, I was like, okay, I need to, I realize that I'm saying this messy, and I'm going to just allow that to be okay and trust that you're going to receive what you need to receive and that you're not clicking away from the video or from the podcast. But I just had this idea of like, you know what? This would be so beneficial because so often what I what I feel like anyway, and I think that this is something that others are experiencing as well. We see teachers like Amanda Francis or Catherine Zinkina or Marie Forleo or Gabby Bernstein or I don't know, like all the big names in and across different industries, right? But certainly focused on manifestation and personal development. And they're already having the millions of dollars every year. And we aspire to be at a similar level of success ourselves. And we're listening to what they're teaching, but we're also like, OMG, but like, how do I get there? How do I align into that energy when what's showing up in my lived experience is not at that level at this point? And so this idea came in of, wouldn't it be amazing if I captured what I was doing, if I committed to doing it every day for 30 days, which doesn't sound like crazy, but often I'm like, okay, I got this. And then like 6 days in, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to do that. So I am committing to recording videos and posting them every single day for 30 days inside this portal so that you can actually witness and come along with me on exactly what it is that I'm doing to shift my energy. So it looks like a couple different things. It looks like in the morning before I get started into my work for the day. It's not the minute I get out of bed. Okay, I have tried to follow that guidance of like, you need to do this the second you wake up. And to be very honest, the times that I've tried to do that, I've just actually fallen back asleep because they're like, do this before you go to the bathroom, before you even get out of bed, like when you're still coming out of theta, and I am asleep. And then all of a sudden it's 8 o'clock and I'm like, well, shit, that didn't work out how I thought it was going to. So that doesn't work for me. It also doesn't work for me to like go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, and then come back and do it because I have a morning routine that feels good, that gets me started. And I've come to realize that there is a transition that I need that happens from like when I wake up until I'm ready to actually sit down to get to work. Now, part of that transition often is having a shower. And that's part of the key, okay? Because I have anchored in the first part of this energetic shift to the habit of having my shower. So I go have my shower, I get dressed, I do my hair, I do my makeup, I get all ready for the day. And then before I leave the bedroom to step into my office, which is like 4 feet away, I sit down to do the alignment into this vibrational match of $8,000 of income. Throughout the day, and this is what's so special about the 30 days, throughout the day, um, there are like different things are happening, right? So there are some days that I'm sitting down to do targeted money work. And so I might be sitting down with my journal. I might be working through an actual belief. And so part of what this idea was what if I could share the prompts that I'm doing so that like people who join me on the 30 days can then like play with the exact same prompts that I'm working on as I am shifting money stories, business stories, like all kinds of stuff that's happening in my brain in alignment of this goal. And also, yesterday was a very interesting experience. Like some days we just are not feeling awesome. We're just not, right? And like yesterday was that I will say this, like the weather was gloomy as fuck. It was very heavy feeling outside, very gray, very droopy. On top of that, my husband was homesick. He wasn't feeling well. And while I'm delighted, and he doesn't get in the way, like it's not like he's underfoot. While I'm delighted and so proud of him for resting and taking the day to stay home and like sleep and feel better, it also disrupts my natural routine, and it makes me a little more self-conscious of, just talking to myself, as I often will do during the day. So now I'm living more in my head. And when I start living more in my head, that's where our chatterbox likes to sit. And I just found myself feeling funky yesterday. So part of this challenge is that I will be capturing on video how I'm shifting through those things. Not constantly, because like you don't need to watch me for 24 hours a day, but when I have this sense of like, okay, this is something that would really benefit from talking through this out loud. I'm capturing that on the video so that you can actually see, how do I shift the energy? What are the words that I use? What's the language that I use? How do I, what does it actually look like? And then you can play with it, you can mimic it, you can practice it, you can like ignore it, you can do whatever you want to, but you, can now see actually how someone is shifting their energy. And then I also do an evening alignment. So before I go to bed, after I've like brushed my teeth and everything, before I change into my jammies and crawl into bed, I've been doing an evening alignment as well. That one will probably not ever get recorded, only because it's nighttime. Like, at that point, I want my brain to disconnect from the conscious activity of building and growing a business and serving people. And I want it instead to be fully powering down, resting into this place. And I want to be crawling into bed with this like beautifully lined up energy that I have. But the evening alignment looks very similar to the morning alignment. The only difference really is that I tend to be a little like calmer as I finish, just because I'm preparing to go to bed. So this is what the 30 days to $8,000 is all about. All right. So the idea came to me about 10 days ago. Like, what is it now? When I'm recording, we're at the moment that I'm recording this, we're in the middle of the Wealthiest Fuck live launch. So I was like, well, how would I do both at the same time? So I was kind of like, okay, what's that going to look like? And it takes a minute to set up the landing page and like all that kind of stuff, right? Get everything ready so that I actually can share the content, set up the payment pages, like all that kind of jazz. In that time frame, I got to tell you, holy moly, I feel scared shitless. I'm just like, am I a fucking lunatic for putting this out there? Like, not so much what are people going to think, but am I dooming my business to failure? Because like literally the first 3 videos, if you follow me on social, you'll maybe have seen these videos. And if not, go check them out. They're on Instagram and TikTok. And I think they're probably on LinkedIn as well. Because I actually recorded, I was like, how am I going to tell people about this thing? Like, it's not, here's my proven system. Here's exactly how I did it. So in the video that I recorded, which I posted as 3 different parts, you literally hear me saying, okay, so here's this idea that I have. I don't even know how to clearly talk about it. And something that you should know before you join is that, I don't have a build up pipeline of people. So like I'm guaranteed to hit $8,000 this month, which I think is very, very important, especially for this kind of learning journey, so that those of you who join me on the journey see in real time, okay, here's what I'm doing. Which also means, and this is the part that's like super scary, there's no guarantee of success. It's possible I'll finish the 30 days having it recorded and like not hit the $8,000, right? So I'm like, so then what? Like, am I like, well, I think it's coming. I don't know. I am trusting that somehow this journey is going to be awesome. And it might even look like, okay, so we hit 30 days And now you're going to see, I'm going to do bonus days of this is how I'm moving into the trust and expectation that it's still coming in. I don't know. It's possible. Who knows what we have in store? So that part is scary, right? Because I'm like, well, shit, I can't guarantee anybody a transformation. I can't even guarantee my own fucking transformation. Like, I don't know what the results are going to be. The other part, and this is the part that scares me equally as much, if maybe a tiny bit more, just from the space of like, what if the haters online show up and catch wind of this, is that I am also, I share openly in those initial videos that, like, listen, the business has made very little money in the last 2 years. I am candidly experiencing at the moment, even at the moment that I'm recording this video, and it could be completely different by the time it gets posted and by the time this podcast goes out. I am at the moment experiencing like a sense of real financial constriction is maybe the best word that I want to use there. I have credit card bills that I know will be coming, and I'm like, I have no fucking idea how we're going to pay for them. But it's been very interesting. So there's a couple of things. I'm going to just touch on this very quick, because one of the big things that leads up to the work that I'm doing now is like this isn't new, right? Like, I've been working on building this business for more than 2 years. And one of the big things was, how do I move through the worry and the conditioning that I should be feeling like really fucking worried and terrified that I can't pay the bills. That is actually what I teach you how to do inside Breakup with Broke. So the first week is all about how to actually leverage worry, how to use the natural process of the brain, and how to decouple the conditioning that says you have to be worried about this, because it actually isn't helpful. So like, if that's something that is really resonating with you, if you're like, tell me more about this, Breakup with Broke is the journey for that. It's $97. It's a private podcast audio feed. You can get it anytime. I will be sure to have it. It's always linked in my podcast notes, but I'll be sure to link it in the YouTube video show notes as well. So that's the work I was doing leading up to this. And now I am going, okay, so I feel like I've got myself reasonably aligned in, how do I say this? In navigating the calls of, like, hey, Amy, you should be worrying about this. But now I want to actually, like, let's step into creating $8,000 of income. So this is where we're at. Okay. This has been a long ass lead in. I totally get that. So let's now shift. Hang on really quick before I do the final shift. So Breakup with Broke, you can get, like I said, I'll put the link in the show notes. The 30 days to $8,000. Just so that you're aware of this, it is starting at $5. For $5, I have it set up as like pay what you feel. So if you want to pay more than $5, you absolutely can. I may not do that again, but we'll see. We're going to try it out. So for $5, you get access to all of the videos. All right. So you get them when they come in. You have lifetime access to it. The videos are just there for you. For $27, and these are one-time payments, for $27, you get all of the videos. And then I will email you any journal prompts that I am using on the days that I'm journaling. Now, it won't be every single day because I don't journal every single day. But on the days that I am journaling, I will email you the journal prompts like on the day that I'm using them. Okay. For $47, you get all of those things. So you get the full access to the videos, you get the email journal prompts, and if you join before we go live, what we'll do is I'm going to be doing 4 live group coaching calls. So basically 1 call a week for those of you who are coming along the journey with me. So you'll be getting the videos, and ideally you're going to be watching through them and playing with the practice. And then we'll do a weekly call where you can bring any questions that you have or concerns, or, like things that you're like, Amy, I'm not quite sure. Like, how are you doing this? And how did you figure out that? And how do I do this? That's what those live group coaching calls are for. Now, this is going to be a program that I think I'm just going to like forever have out there. So, of course, I can't forever be doing the live calls. I will make sure that those calls are recorded. And then if you join anytime after those 4 live calls are done, then you will just get the recordings of those calls. So you'll still get all of the insight that happens in those calls. It's just you won't have the chance to ask me questions in real time, right? So super approachable in terms of how to join into the experience. Like literally you can start for $5. And if you don't live in Canada, it will be less than $5 because 5 Canadian dollars is like $3 US and like 280 in euros. It's kind of crazy. Okay. So there we go. That's all the stuff. Now I want to share with you the awareness that came through this morning. So in the mornings, like my typical routine, I get up, brush my teeth, go to the bathroom, and then I like prep my breakfast and I make my coffee. When I'm having my coffee, when I have my breakfast, I'm watching like lately I've been binging Two Broke Girls. Sometimes I watch Friends, something simple, happy, like sitcom style that's just chill and easy to hang out with for my breakfast because it's the first thing in the morning. Then when I have my coffee, I actually switch and I start reading. So typically, not always, but typically I'm reading a book that is some kind of learning and expansion. On occasion, if none of my books have come in yet, because sometimes I have to wait for books to arrive, or if I'm just too tired, I'll read like a super chill romance book just to kind of let my brain relax. But when that happens, once I've finished my reading, oftentimes I need some time to just sit. And my brain integrates knowledge and I sit and I think through things. And this is the space that I was in this morning. So at the moment, I'm reading a book called Chatter. I don't know who the author is other than his first name is Ethan. And I can only tell you that because he talked about it in the last chapter that I was reading. The book is really fascinating. It's all about the chatter that goes on into our brain and what's it about and how do we shift it? And it's very interesting. I'm quite enjoying the book. So I finished my reading. I'd finished my coffee. I wanted to go to the gym for a workout, but I was like, I just couldn't quite get going. I wasn't ready to step into the day. And I was thinking about this, this challenge, the 8,000, the energy shift, how I'm feeling, just all the things. My brain often does it. I'm sure yours does too. That it's just all of these things moving around all at one go. And it occurred to me, and I'm going to do my very best to make this clear because sometimes I find it a challenge to put into verbal words or vocal words, like what is so clear in my brain. When I had a job, I have no problem trusting that my income is coming in. I have no problem trusting that I'm going to get paid. Because I don't know why, other than like I've just always gotten paid in a job. Like I've never ever had a job where I haven't gotten paid, right? And candidly, if for some reason like I didn't get paid through the job, then I'm sure I have recourse available to actually like pursue getting paid. So there's just never been any concern. So when I have a job, I have now I will say this, the one caveat related to the job is that it feels much more secure when it's a salary-based job versus an hourly wage-based job. And that's typically because in the hourly wage, like most of those jobs that I've had in past were part-time and or like even if they were full time, sometimes weird things happen, and I maybe wasn't getting the full 40 hours. So I was still trusting that I would get paid, but in those moments, it was more difficult for me, and I didn't even think about it at the time, really, to trust that I'd be getting a certain amount of money in every month, right? Because like that's a totally different thing. So when I was in salary jobs, which I've been in a bunch of different times, um, there's no issue. There's no issue to trust. I know exactly what's going to come in. Sometimes I was like, fuck, I need to get paid more. And so I was feeling kind of low because I wasn't getting the kind of money that I wanted to have. But I always had trust that it was coming in. One second. Sorry if there's like clunking. I'm turned kind of funky and it's starting to hurt my back. So I always had trust that the money was coming in. So that was really easy for me. And the beautiful thing about that experience is that it gave me the opportunity to then shift my growth in different areas. This is where I really leaned into my leadership skills, where my coaching skills became very strong and very effective. And I had to learn spreadsheets. OMG. I'm like, well, not learn them. I had to relearn them and then like do data in a whole different way. Data is not my jam, but I managed to lean in and grow. And I could grow in those ways because I had the full trust and expectation that I was getting paid consistently. So those things were taken away from the conscious focus of my brain because I was in full trust that money was coming in. What I realized this morning was that building a business, this trust and expectation of the income, this level that I'm calibrating into is actually a whole different kind of trust than what I am used to. And that's why it feels like so unsettling isn't quite the right word, but a little unmooring, I guess. Maybe that's the right word. I'm not quite sure. This understanding that I'll never get paid at a job, the kind of money that I want to earn in my life. And more importantly, as long as I have a job, I am beholden to somebody else and I am fulfilling their dream, right? Whereas I really want to fulfill my dream. I want to be um, earning at the level that I have always dreamed of, for sure, but also to be doing the work that feels so good and juicy and like vibey to me. And so far, the only way I've figured out how to do that is through like creating my own business. But there is this inherent sense of like, holy crap. Okay, so if I'm building the business, then it also means that like the income doesn't seem as clear, right? I understand this is okay. I'm going to try to say this as clearly as I can. I understand how income flows in, right? Like people pay for my services or pay for the products that I have. That part is very clear. But it's the trust space that I think is the most difficult. And certainly for me, I expect for many as well. Because the kind of cruel thing about building a business and doing it on your own is that you could put like crazy amounts of effort and time and energy and money into it. And there is no guarantee that you will get any money out of it. That's the really, and this is why like building a business is not for everybody because it's a whole different game. It's a completely different way of operating. And that was this clarity this morning that I'm like, but I know how to make money. So what is it that's like getting in the way? And all of a sudden this morning it said, it's a different kind of trust, Amy. It's a completely different way of trusting and expecting income because it is so easy for me to go to a job and outperform every metric that they have and to be like just delight all of my bosses, like that is fucking easy for me. It basically doesn't matter what the job is. But in building the business, in growing this, I have no friggin' idea. The income could come from all kinds of places. And this is where the teaching of like, the how is not your job. On the one hand, I'm like, okay. And on the other hand, I'm like, but if the how isn't my job, what the fuck is my job? What am I doing here? So there's this very interesting interplay of taking action, inspired action, guided action, gut feeling action, sometimes just taking action for the fuck of it because you need to just like create some momentum, but taking action from what I know, from the place that I feel guided into, and allowing that action to like not be a direct input necessarily into how income flows in. It sounds confusing as fuck because it is. And I feel like every, highly successful entrepreneur that I've listened to has said in some container, hang on while my brain like short circuits here for a second, has said in some way during their experience that like, well, I started doing this, but I never expected that I'd make money doing this. Right? So sometimes it's, well, they started to, I don't know, maybe they wanted to build a coaching business and they ended up building this like huge YouTube following, or maybe they wanted to be, have a great corporate career and they started off, I don't know, like some side hustle and suddenly it turned into this giant thing. It doesn't really matter, right? It could also be like, okay, so I was putting out these programs, and nobody was buying them, but I was constantly getting approached for this other thing, right? So what I'm trying to say is every entrepreneur that I've seen really has some version of a story of, I have no idea how it was going to come in. And as this sweet little Virgo sun, Capricorn rising soul that I am, who wants so much to like, these are the details. Here's everything in place. Here's how we're going. She is in big growth mode, okay? Because like this is a whole different way of being and of operating and of existing in the world. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? Why are we doing this? Because I can't control every outcome. So, what I want to leave you with today, besides the invitation to join me inside the 30 days to $8,000, and I will just say very quickly, you could be manifesting 8,000, you could be manifesting 80,000. It for your intent and vision for that income, it could be whatever you want it to be. But I'm setting it, and you'll hear all the language that I use. I'm setting it with the focus of $8,000 of income flowing in through my business. Okay. So I would love to have you join me inside the 30 days to $8,000. You can get started for $5. The top level is only $47 unless you decide that you want to pay more than $47, which you are also very welcome to do. Doesn't get you any more. It's just a different way of circulating money. What was I going to say? Hang on, it's coming to me. Okay. So what I want to leave you with today is for you to ruminate on, play with, percolate through. If you are building a business, or this actually would apply even if you have a job, but you're wanting to increase your income somehow, it is very easy for us to get tied into this idea that it's going to come in through our job. But my question is, are you building faith that it has to come in through a job, or are you building the faith and building trust disconnected from the actions that you're taking? I think that that's how I wanted to say that. That, the space that I'm standing in now is saying, okay, I know how to hold the expectation of getting paid consistently when I have a job. And now I am learning a whole new and different way of holding this expectation in the context of building a business. And how do I find the trust? How do I anchor into faith, especially when there isn't like a clear line of people, right? Like lining up around the block going, Amy, I want to work with you. Or I already have, I don't know, like $5,000 of income flowing in. And it's like, oh, well, it's super easy to like bump it up to 8, right? So think about that for yourself and reflect on that for yourself and see where you're at. And if you're like, you know what, I didn't realize that I actually also don't have that, then perhaps joining me inside the 30 days to $8,000 will be really beneficial for you, because you will actually see me on the daily shifting through it. You'll see me doing my alignment in the morning. You'll see me doing like real-time shifts during the days when things are feeling funky. I recorded a few pre-videos, so you can get those absolutely free. The link is in the show notes. It's amyvanmeel.com/30 days. So you'll see a couple of like preview videos to kind of get a sense of this is the kind of work that we're going to be doing on the inside. Okay, my loves, that's everything for today. In closing, you know the drill. So if you are on the YouTubes, if this resonated with you, click the like button. I'd love for you to join, like, subscribe to the channel so you'll get the notifications when I have new videos coming out. I am endeavoring to do it once a week for you. For those of you on the podcast with me, if you haven't yet done so, I'd love it if you left a review. And of course, if you haven't yet, like, follow the show so you get the notifications when the episodes are dropping. And if either of you is on the other side and you're like, wait, she has a podcast? Wait, she has a YouTube channel? Like, go check out the other thing. Because other than this particular episode, what I talk about on the podcast and what I talk about on YouTube are slightly different. Same kind of content, but like I don't record one and have it in both places. They are actually different pieces of content. So yeah, like cross-pollinate across the worlds. And of course, if you have any questions, there is, for those of you on the podcast, I haven't mentioned this actually in quite a while. If you have questions that you would love me to cover on the podcast, there is a form that you can actually use to submit questions for the podcast. The link is in the show notes. And there was one other thing that I wanted to say, and I forgot what it was. So let's call it there. I am wishing you the most amazing week ahead. Thank you so, so much for being here with me. And I really trust, and I'm holding the expectation that you got what you needed out of this episode, and that it's resonating with you. And if you're joining me inside the 30 days to $8,000, I am fucking delighted to see you there. All right. Bye for now, my loves. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform and help me reach more like-minded people who are ready to expand their life. If you haven't yet followed me on social media, find me on Instagram for extra love and inspiration by following @AmyVanMeel or visit my website at amyvanmeel.com. I love you so much, babe, and I am damn proud of you. I am already excited to connect in the next episode. And in the meantime, believe in yourself with the confidence of a 5-year-old.